Mitzie Hunter, your view on what you might have heard in the last interview.
Sure. And I too want to just express well wishes to the minister's dad. I found out on the interview that he shares heritage with my sister-in-law, who is from Hungary. So I definitely want to wish the family well. I think that what struck me, Steve, on in just listening to him and watching him in the House today, along with the Premier and their PC caucus, is how lackluster everyone is about their budget. Normally, parties are pretty proud of their budget. It sets out the vision that you have, and I just don't see one in this budget. There just is nothing new. There's nothing bold in terms of new programs that are going to lift people out of this pandemic and are going to stimulate the economic recovery that the finance minister talked about. It's really just, what they've been talking about and doing in their pre-announcements for the last few weeks. And there was really nothing new. I call it the fake budget because, who knows what's going to happen. They didn't give it an opportunity to be duly debated in the legislature, and they're just now out, in full election mode. I think what leaves people sort of scratching their head is that, where are the investments for the people of this province? We understand that they want to build highways. It's plastered all over the front cover, but this should be a budget about people. We are coming out of a pandemic. They're cutting up $1.3 billion from the education budget. And when you look at the needs in education and public education, when you look at the learning gaps that have to be addressed, when you think about, the mental health and we've just heard, the studies coming out of TDSB and others about the mental health suffering from young people. Why don't we see these investments? And not to mention healthcare for seniors and for the elderly. Our nurses are telling us that they are completely burned out. We have a nursing shortage, and this government refuses to repeal Bill 124. So they're not focused on the priorities and the things and the needs of the people of this province. And I believe that Ontarians will see that they do have a clear choice, that there is an alternative to a government that is frankly indifferent to the things that are important to them.
We should just mention, for those who don't remember, Bill 124 is that bill that puts a ceiling on public sector wage settlements at 1%, regardless of collective bargaining, et cetera, and all of your parties, I believe, have said you'd repeal it if you got in. Yeah. Okay, maybe you could pick up the story there. If, in fact, it is $10 billion for the 413 highway, and it probably will be more, if you guys are against doing that, what would you rather see that money go towards?
So I will answer that. I do want to say another sort of stunning thing from the minister's pre-interview is that the budget is not fully costed. He doesn't necessarily know what it's going to cost to build those rails to Timmins. Neither do they have the full cost in place for the Highway 413, which, they're putting that on the cover of their budget. And so highways are mentioned 151 times in this budget. Women are mentioned 8 times. And so you really see where the headspace is at for this government. And, what the Ontario Liberals have said is that we would cancel Highway 413 that paves over farmland and green belt and watershed communities, and instead would invest in public education, because we believe that that is aligned with the priorities of the people of this province and, frankly, the needs of the province to set us up for a brighter future. And that's what would be our focus, making class sizes smaller, hiring 16,000 new teachers and education workers, and making sure that the supports are in place for our public education system.
All right, Mitzie Hunter, my question for you is, and people may not remember this, but it was actually the Liberal Party that last presented a balanced budget in the province of Ontario. You didn't balance too many of them, but the last one that did do a balance was the Liberal government. And I wonder whether you are at all perturbed that the Financial Accountability Officer says if they didn't go on a big-time spending spree, they could have balanced the budget next year. Instead, the budget won't be balanced until 2028. Is that a problem for you?
It is a problem for me, Steve, and it certainly kicks it way out past a second mandate that they're seeking. And what leaves me perplexed is what are they focused on? What are they spending that is making fundamental investments in this province. And, you know, you talk about affordable housing, and there's no affordable housing program for young people to get them into the housing market. There's no affordable rental housing program. There's just really no vision on one of the biggest issues that faces young people and others in our province. You know, definitely making sure that we really focus on the future, and that includes our seniors and our elders, and how our province is aging, and are we ready for that? You know, the plan that we're putting forward as Ontario Liberals puts actually twice as much money invested in a revolution of elder care in this province than does the NDP, because we know that we need to do better by our seniors and by our elders, and whether that's the type of housing that they live in or the people who support them so that they can age at home. You know, we are going to make the base rate for personal support workers $25 an hour, because we want to attract and retain people in that hands-on healthcare sector that we know suffered so much during the pandemic. And so, you know, our focus is going to be about putting forward realistic plans and making sure that we implement those plans so that the people of this province can really see value from what is being invested. I think that there is a lot of money being spent under the Ford government's budget, but it's not reaching real people. You know, it's maybe going to developers and going to for-profit
Forgive me, Mitzie, I'm going to
of,
jump in.